Welcome to the February 2013 episode of Iowa City in Focus. I'm your host, Mary Bryant. Now, February is Black History Month, and the Iowa City Cedar Rapids Kappa Youth Leadership Development League is presenting a celebration of Black history on Sunday, February 10th at 4 p.m. at the Iowa City Public Library in Meeting Room A. The presentation will highlight the accomplishments of African Americans and Black culture throughout the history of the United States. The public is invited, so mark your calendars. Today I'm in front of one of Iowa City's historic homes, 1142 East Court Street, which was the home of Grant Wood during his time in Iowa City. On this month's episode, Lehnertz, the Director of Planning, Design, and Construction at the University of Iowa, will take us inside 1142 to talk with local attorney Jim Hayes, the owner of this historic home, about the building itself and some of its former occupants. You can also hear from city staff about some exciting updates and activities happening at the Robert A. Lee Recreation Center in downtown Iowa City. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Lehnertz, Director of Planning, Design, and Construction for the University of Iowa. Last month, I was interviewed by Liz Christensen, our Director for Sustainability at the University at the Beckwith Boathouse. Today, I'm joined by Jim Hayes, University of Iowa alumni and noted Iowa City attorney. Jim has invited us into his home, the famous and historic 1142 East Court Street, also known as the Grant Wood House. Jim, thank you.
You're welcome, Rod.
So Jim, for starters, can you take us back to the beginning and talk a little bit about the history of the home itself?
Sure. Nicholas and Mary Oakes came from Ohio to Iowa City in 1855. Nicholas was a brickmaker, and they came and they bought approximately 30 acres of land from Burlington Street to Longfellow School, Summit Street down to Muscatine. They established a brick factory down by Schrader Field in Longfellow School, and that was a family business, and hence the brick house, this beautiful brick house. Nicholas used his own bricks to build the house. It started in 1855, finished in 1858, and the family lived here until about 1920. But while they were here, it really was a center of activity, and probably most of the bricks in Iowa City that we see today at the older places were Nicholas Oakes bricks.
Great, wonderful. Then came the 1930s and the home's most noted owner, Grant Wood.
Well, in 1935, Grant Wood had taken an appointment at the university as a professor, and he had been involved in the WPA mural projects. And he came to Iowa City newly married, and he saw this house, and it was in really terrible disrepair. Windows out, birds flying through it, but he saw the natural beauty, the classic beauty, the arches and the squares, and Grant Wood was a great one for arches and squares. And he saw this classic Italianate house, and he decided to make this his home. And his sister, Nan, the woman in the American Gothic, told me when she visited here in 1976 that Grant considered his restoration of the house one of his finest artistic achievements. So he was here from 1935, died here in 1942.
So for nearly 40 years, you've been caring for this home,
right?
Spending countless hours and dollars to repair the home, restore the home, and recapture the essence of one of Iowa's most noted historic figures in a home that not many knew about until you owned it. What was it that drove you to make this such a great project rather than just, say, living in the house?
Well, you know, Rod, the house is more than a house. It has a life of its own. It's a space, light, activity kind of a place, and as I always say, it's a container of history. We go back to the frontier days and of Iowa and carry forward, and we have this great internationally famous artist, the Grant Wood, who had many people here, Carl Sandburg, Robert Frost, many luminaries, Thomas Hart Benton. But it's such a friendly place, and it's a happy place, and it's a place where people like to gather. And for many years, there wasn't much public kind of activity here. I happen to like to have the house open to my friends and groups of people. I like other people to see the house. It's such a beautiful place, just a great place and a great place to be.
We'll return to Rod and Jim in a moment, but first let's hear about ActiveNet, the new information and registration system that the Iowa City Parks and Recreation Department has put online for everyone to use.
The new software is for registration and facility reservations, park shelters, rooms, and a whole lot more.
It gives us more of a online service that we didn't have in the old system. So, for example, now we can, end user or someone at home can go on and actually see what rooms may be available for rent, what park shelters would be available for rent, and can actually put that rental request in from home and not have to go through the steps in the past where they'd have to issue a request and then staff would have to verify availability and then get back to them. So from that standpoint, it simplifies the process for the end user.
It's set up a lot like Amazon.com where you can store credit cards so you don't have to always retrieve your credit cards. It's a completely secure software website. Just go to www.icgov.org/PR. There is currently a link on there right now that says click here to set up your new account. Just follow the standard protocol, provide the information that the system requires, and from then on they can go ahead. This is the main page to our new ActiveNet system. There are 4 main categories. The welcome, obviously you can access your account, you can request an account, you can view activities that are offered within the Recreation Division, and you can reserve facilities. If you're looking to make a reservation, you would click on the Reservation tab. You can also access the list of activities by clicking Activities, and as you see there's many search criteria that you can find what you're looking for. You would just choose the class that you were interested in. It tells you the information, add to your cart. Sometimes there will be special questions that need to be answered, like this. Does the child have any special needs or medical concerns, limitations? That's something that you have to answer. Are you interested in coaching? And then we always have an agree to waiver that you'll need to put your initials in. And then you proceed to checkout. And this information will be stored on your account, so if you forget what day the class starts, what time the class starts, where the location is, everything is right here at the touch of your fingertips on your account. So very user-friendly, very easy to do. Just really pay attention to special questions because each class does have some. The park shelter reservations always want to know if you want water, and you have to answer yes or no before you can proceed. So this system is very user-friendly. Once you get your account set up and play around with it a little bit, I think everybody will find that it's a great system.
Now let's return to Rod and Jim's conversation for more on the Grant Wood House and Jim's plans for its future.
There are appointments throughout this house that make it special. From Grant Wood's original work, the bookshelves, for instance, in the room that we're standing in, the hammered hood for the fireplace. There are many other
I'm going to make you a docent.
Wonderful, great. But I think one of the great additions to this home is the artwork, including, for instance, in the kitchen, the sketches done by Grant Wood, discovered and brought to this home.
When Grant Wood died, he left a portfolio of works, presumably student works. When Dan was here in 96, or 76, I'm sorry, she went through that portfolio and there were 85 pieces. And she pulled out 3. One is a pencil sketch in the kitchen that she said, "Oh my, Jim, this is very valuable. No one has ever seen this before. This is Grant's." That's been at the Smithsonian and other places. And I have 2 down at the office. One may be Marvin Cohen's and one likely is Grant Wood's. The other pieces I've donated all to the University of Iowa Museum of Art so that students, current students, can study Grant Wood's last efforts by his students just before he died. So
it's a great story.
Very meaningful.
As if you haven't done enough already. Looking forward, what does 1142 have in the plans in years to come?
Well, yeah, about 12 years ago, I decided that I wanted to gift the house and the surrounding properties to the University of Iowa. And we hammered out a gift agreement. Sandy Boyd, my former prof in law school, signed off on it with me. And the house is intended to be used by the university for visiting dignitaries, President of Ireland comes and stays for a few days, something like that. And so it will always be used after my death for that sort of thing. Small exhibits and perhaps small meetings by university folks. But in addition to that, as a part of the properties, Mr. Oakes owned property, as I said, from Burlington Street to Longfellow School. I own 4 houses directly behind 1142, contiguous with, and that all is a part of the gift as well. The university wonderfully has collaborated with me to establish the Grantwood Art Colony, and we have artists living in those houses, and eventually as many as 8 artists can live in the 4 houses. And the headquarters for the art colony is back there now, and we're very happy about that program. So when the university takes it over, those grounds can all be opened up, and so there can be walkways and gardens and just a very nice space for artists to walk and talk, and guests at this house to be involved with the colony as well.
Wonderful and exciting. Jim, I want to thank you today for having us in your home, and also for your generosity in keeping and sharing such a wonderful piece of Iowa City and state of Iowa history. Thanks, Jim.
You're very welcome.
You can watch Rod and Jim's full conversation online at citychannel4.com/video. And now in our final segment, we're heading back to the rec center to hear about what's going on at the indoor pool.
Last December, we began what was part of a final phase project at the pool. We did a complete deck restoration, which involved grinding down the old surface and then installing the new surface, which is made of a quartz rock type material. After a certain point of time, the material that is laid down eventually just wears out, and it had been several years since we had done the entire deck. We did about half the deck a few years ago when we had the tornado come through, tore out a lot of glass, broke the deck up pretty good, so we did about half of it then. And then it had become apparent at some point that we needed to do a complete restoration just because it had reached its age, so it was ready to go. This should last a good 15 to 20 years. If we take care of it, it'll last a little bit longer. It all just depends on the amount of volume and bathers that we have. We just recently installed a new wading pool glass barrier that replaced the old one. The old one was a little out of code. It was older. This one is more attractive. It's newer. It's within a code. We got that done about a year ago, and then about 6 months ago we installed a climbing wall, which is made of a plexiglass type material. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of an alternative to a diving board or like spray features. It sits over the deep end. The kids really enjoy it on Saturdays and Sundays. We host several events that are really good for the families. One of them is our family swim time. That's on Saturdays from 6 to 8. It's only $1 per person, so it's a really affordable way to get the kids out, do something fun. I mean, it may be 2 degrees outside, but it's always 80 degrees inside.
Come on down and see us at the Robert A. Lee Recreation Center, or on the east side of town, you can go out to the Mercer Scanlan Recreation Center. We have plenty of activities from little kids all the way up to adults, so we're here to serve and hope you take advantage of the services we offer.
For more information, visit icgov.org/PR. You can watch all of these segments again by visiting citychannel4.com/video or by turning to Channel 5 and calling into Video on Demand. While you're there, check out some of our past shows. Also, if you like us on Facebook, you'll receive updates about other City Channel 4 programs you may enjoy. Find us there at facebook.com/citychannel4. Thanks for watching this month's episode of Iowa City in Focus. We'll see you next time.